Riddle reacting to his recent leak and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Speaking about his comeback appearance at Backlash over the weekend, Savio Vega said this about the reaction he got, telling Steve Fall, "Brother, you see the explosion of the people when they see my face? I mean, that was a boom. It's obvious there was going to be some reaction, of course, but that was a big time reaction. At this point, they don't know Carlito is coming down. During the match, Carlito showed up to help Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny, and boom. In the middle of that, here comes the music of Savio Vega, and boom. That was crazy. That was an out of the ordinary pop. They compared it to the pops of The Rock and Stone Cold. Vega also revealed how long this return had been in the works. About 2 months ago. This is the mastermind by Damian Priest and of course Bad Bunny. They're big fans of myself when they're growing up watching TNT. In Dallas, when they did the farewell of The Undertaker, that was the first time I saw him there. We met, we talked a little bit, we exchanged numbers. Then once in a while, hello. Then I got the call from Bruce Pritchard. Do you want to be a part of the pay-per-view? We're going down to Puerto Rico. Of course, why not? The same day they called me, they were looking for Carlito too. Let's do it. Let's make some money. Let's make some noise. Talk about the possibility of Drew McIntyre debuting at AEW's upcoming show in London on August 27th. Eric Bischoff said on his 83 Weeks podcast, "I think McIntyre debuting at All In would turn Wembley Stadium inside out. With Drew, I could see a scenario where he thinks, you know what, I still got gas in my tank and I want to see if I can climb a little higher. And if Drew is getting the sense that he's getting lost in the shuffle creatively, or if there's no opportunity in WWE, I could see him making the move. It's not always about the money and going to AEW. The money's going to be there for Drew if that happens. He's not going to be hurting for cash, that's for sure." Of course, it's been reported that McIntyre's contract is expiring at the end of the year, as this might not be an option for the WWE star. Recalling his first day in WWE developmental training, Kurt Angle noted on his podcast, "Starting out, you only trained 5 days and you trained all day long. You're taking 300 bumps a day. It was brutal. I literally quit after the first day because I was like, I can't do this. I told my manager I can't bump around like this because it's like beating the shit out of yourself. He said to stay until the end of the day to see if I could make it, and I did. But I was ready to walk out because it was like self-abuse. And the thing is, I was only doing this 5 days a month, and then I would go home and wait for 25 days. Revealing where the name Naomi came from in WWE, Trinity Fatu told Denise Salcedo, "That's where I picked my first wrestling name. That's where I came up with Naomi because I had this idea. I couldn't use my real name, that was the initial one I wanted to use. But then I was like, maybe I can be this knockoff Naomi Campbell in the ring. I had this whole idea concept, but that never worked out, so then I just stuck with the name Naomi. When I originally came in, I would be a heel, so I had this idea of being this bougie, shady, wannabe supermodel who was just not it. But I did it for like a few weeks, but I was like, this ain't it." Mentioning his and his late brother's tryout in WWE years ago, Mark Briscoe told Talk Is Jericho, "Everybody was saying everybody really liked you. I really think they're gonna bring you guys on. I guess it was a week or two after we had got home and we were just waiting to hear back because they said we will let you know. John Laurinaitis told me, yeah, we really liked your stuff, but I think we're going to pass for right now. Let us know if you guys want another try." That kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but then I guess when he talked to Jay, as he called Jay either right before he called me or called Jay right after he called me, he said, "Man, you know what he told me? He said that we not cosmetically pleasing enough." When asked who made more money when they started wrestling between him and his daughter, who is on NXT, The Rock told the Pivot podcast, "I would say her. My first paycheck in wrestling, my first paycheck was $40. That's what our guarantee was. This was before WWE. As you're starting out, I wasn't ready for WWE. I made my bones down in Tennessee. I wrestled down there, USWA. Everybody came through there. Jerry the King Lawler, everybody who became somebody went through there. And that's where you made your bones and cut your teeth. The guarantee every night was $40. Didn't matter where you were at on the card, that was your guarantee. Additional money, there was the intermission, and we'd go to the gimmick table. We'd have our Polaroids. Anyone who wanted to take a Polaroid, you'd sign it $5. Take the photo, $5. Sign it, $10. That's how we made additional money. On a good night, I could make maybe $80. Touching on the reason for her comeback to WWE, Trish Stratus said this about her motivation, telling Out of Character, "When I went back, they were having the live events and they were coming through Toronto. Twice I had dabbled with the girls in the ring. You know what it was? It was like the fans being so interested in this fantasy booking and seeing this kind of happen. If I'm going to come back, there's like these certain boxes I want to check. I want the fans to be interested. I want them to care. I don't just want to come back for my own kicks. I want something that's interesting, like, Charlotte versus Trish Stratus. Oh my god. That's interesting. When Becky and I were exchanging, it was literally a social media feud and people were into it. People were so into it, and when we faced off in Toronto, it was really fun. Same with Bayley. There's a moment we had in the ring in Toronto for Raw. I think just doing that and getting the mix and seeing the interest from fans, that's where I'm sure WWE got the interest from, like, oh, this could work, and then yeah, here we are. Stratus also revealed advice she received from The Rock during her career. For sure, The Rock was someone who was very generous, offering me so much help. He took me aside one time and said, "You could be the female Rock." I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Yes, I want to do that. He just meant that you could go out there and you could entertain. He had that perfect balance. It's the same thing while I grew up. Macho Man was my guy. He had that perfect balance of character and athlete, just a perfect balance, and I felt like that's what The Rock offered, and I wanted to do that as well. Talking about an online report from the Wrestling Observer about himself, Bobby Fish revealed to Inside the Ropes, "Meltzer's people at one point released some leak about me when I left AEW trying to get Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole to come to WWE. And that is accepted at this point as like gospel, and there's no truth to it whatsoever. The desire to know the perceived dirt is such that fiction becomes fact. I've been victim of that more than once." In a video, Stone Cold Steve Austin can be seen chugging beers at Fuel Bar. Here's the clip. When it comes to the reason why WWE picked the participants for the World Heavyweight Title Tournament, Ringside News wrote that some top superstars like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle were not included in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. The entire Bloodline faction was also snubbed for some reason. Those choices caused a lot of conversations within the fan base. Ringside News reached out to ask why WWE neglected to include certain superstars in the 2023 draft pool. There seems to be a simple reason for this, because those superstars simply weren't needed to tell the stories that the company has in mind. A tenured member of the WWE creative team explained to us that there's only so many spaces on the brackets available. These were the matchups that made the most sense considering where we're going. There is no conspiracy theory against anyone who was not selected in the tournament. It was added on Twitter that there were only so many spots in that World Heavyweight Championship tournament, and some people were left out for a good reason. We were told by a tenured member of the creative team that these were the matchups that made the most sense considering where we're going. About the rumors of Sting retiring from in-ring action, Rick Bassman told House of Wrestling, "I positively believe the rumor to be true. I talk with Sting, Steve, maybe once a month, once every 2 months, and the impression the rumor you're referencing is probably pretty accurate. He's 63 or 64 now, and unlike most guys, especially from his era, he's in relatively good physical condition. He's in very, very good financial shape. So what else is there for him to do really at this point? He's been the top guy in the world for decades. He's well liked. He's well respected. He's still reasonably good in the ring. ring. He's a guy that absolutely could afford by every metric and measure to go out on top, so why the heck would not? Speaking of Goldberg's possible retirement tour, he said, "First of all, I'm actively in touch with Bill. I'm working on a date right now. I don't promote much these days, but every now and then something fun comes up and it's worth diving into. So working on a date in Jerusalem is real for September of this year, and that would involve potentially both Goldberg and Sting. Then on the latter, you have the AEW clearance issues, of course. So that's something that I really hope to put together, only because I've been in touch actively with Bill and then also with his agent, Barry Bloom, who is a longtime good friend. They're working on exactly what you described, but to my knowledge, it still needs to all be nailed down. Now, that said, I would not be surprised to see Bill end up back at WWE for something massive. In a screenshot of what appears to be a direct message with Matt Riddle, he is reacting to the recently leaked video of him where he asks, "Where did you get this?" The person replied that it's all over Twitter. For a reason as to why Riddle did not appear on Raw this week, it was said that Ringside News reached out to ask why Matt Riddle did not appear on Raw this week. This is interesting because he did appear on Raw Talk, so he did make it to Jacksonville for the show. We were told by a tenured member of the creative team that Matt Riddle was not scheduled for Raw this week. That is why he did not appear on this week's episode. His absence had nothing to do with that leaked video. Riddle's ex-girlfriend would also react to the recent leak, writing, "Now I'm getting sent your dick-swinging vid by random still? Go back to rehab. This time, not just for substance abuse, but also for a sex addiction. You sexual predator. Misha Montana, get your dog on leash." And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.